Welcome to Milac Online tutorial. Now before us is this exponential equation, and it reads that if 3 raised to the power of x minus 1 equals 81, and we are told to find the value of the square root of 3 raised to the power of x minus 3. Okay, now initially you can actually solve this by finding the value of x from this equation first, which definitely will give us 5. Okay, then you plug in 5 here. All right, now to find this. However, I want to take it another approach. I want to resolve it, or I want to solve it using only the first given equation. Okay, so we're going to map out the whole of this from the left hand side of the equation. So let's get started. Now, first of all, here take note that here you have the square root of 3. So how do we get the square root of 3 here? Now let us recall that if you have x, the square root of x, okay? Now this is something as saying x raised to the power of 1 over 2, right? Okay, now let us apply this rule here. It implies that let's raise both sides of the equation by half. Okay, so by so doing, here we have 3 raised to the power of x minus 1, all raised to the power of half, then equals 81, all raised to the power of what? Half. Now let's take note here that this is a term and this is a term, which implies if you have that a raised to the power of m, all raised to the power of n, okay, in terms of indices. Now this can be written as a raised to the power of what? N, or raised to the power of what? M, which means we can interchange, right? Okay, so since this is a term on its own and half is also a term on its own, so we can write this as saying 3 raised to the power of 1 over 2, or raised to the power of x minus 1. Okay, let's take note of this parenthesis. Then equals, and we know that any number raised to the power of half means the square root of that number. So the square root of 81 here will give us what? 9. Okay, so at this point here now, this is now likened to this, so which means it can be written as this. So here we have the square root of 3, all raised to the power of x minus 1, then equals what? 9. Alright, the next thing we need to look at here now is 3. Now we've achieved this. Now the next thing is to look at 3. So how do we get 3 from negative 1? And we know that for us to get 3 from negative 1, that will be negative 1, negative 2 will give us what? 3. Okay, now but how do we manufacture this negative 2? Now take note, here we have a base of what? The square root of 3. And we know according to the law of indices, if you have a raised to the power of let me see, m plus n. This simply implies a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of what? N. Okay, now I want to introduce this. Okay, by introducing this implies I will have the same base. Okay, and if I introduce that here, it means I will have to introduce it on the right hand side so as to balance the equation. So here we have that 3 now raised to the power, the square root of 3 raised to the power of x minus 1, then times this square root of 3 all raised to the power of negative 2, okay, because we know when we had it, okay. Then introducing this also the left hand side, this will give us what? 9, then times the square root of negative 2. Okay, so when we now apply this rule here, this will give us that the square root of 3 all raised to the power of x minus 1, then minus 2, then equals, now at this point here now, this is same thing as saying the square root of 3 all raised to the power of negative 2. Now it's same thing as saying 3 raised to the power of 1 over 2 all raised to the power of negative 2. And you know when we multiply, we end up having 3 raised to the power of minus 1, right? And 3 raised to the power of minus 1 implies 1 over 3. Okay, now for the sake of space, okay, so I can say here now that this is 9, then the whole of this expression here equals 1 over 3, That will be times 1 over 3. Okay, so which implies here that, let me just write the remaining one here. So the whole of here will now be the square root of 3 all raised to the power of x minus 3, if you give us this, then equals 3 here 1, 3 here 3. So here we have what? 3. So the whole of this expression equals what? 3. I hope you enjoyed the class. Make sure you subscribe and share this video. Thank you and God bless you. Bye bye.